This is one of my most exciting Blackworm videos that I've done in a long time. I was able to combine a brand new technology that I just discovered not that long ago, combined with the Blackworm knowledge I had to supercharge a brand new substrate so you can start off with the max amount of microbes that the blackworms need. When you see how much we were able to harvest, you'll completely understand why this is so important. Okay, so let's get into it. This is everything we're going to use today to restart our Biofloc reactor. If you don't have all these ingredients, I'll go ahead and link the previous video so you can see what you can substitute for those items. So our inoculated rocks and substrate is ready to go. It's time to get it out of here. I'm going to be using an empty shoebox to get the water out. You could use anything you like. The first thing that we're going to do is turn off the air and let everything settle. And now you notice we have this thick substance. You can't even shine a light through it. Our Biofloc reactor is so productive, it even formed Biofloc on the plastic clip I used to keep in the airline. So after about 15 minutes, let it settle, and this is exactly what it's going to look like. So now it's time to get our substrate out of there. I'm going to be using a beaker. I'm actually going to measure everything that we pulled out, and we're going to need about 50 milliliters of this. I'm just using a turkey baster to pull it from the bottom of our reactor. So let that settle so you can measure it correctly. And I was really surprised on how much I was actually able to pull out of here. And even the stuff around the side still hasn't been counted. So that's even extra that I didn't calculate. Let's look at these numbers for ourselves because I got 140 milliliters plus the ones that I didn't count out of this culture. So this means we're looking at a 60% increase from what we put in. Now, do you understand why this technology was widely studied in aquaculture? That opened up fish farming to so many people that didn't have access to constant water. Plus, all that savings got passed right along to the consumer. Over the last 50 years, this technology has been around. There has been billions of dollars in studies done. So let's try to add to this research so we can include blackworms in that list. So let's get back to our culture. I'm going to pour off the water. There's going to be some peat moss still floating at the top, so that will pour right off. Just stop before the Biofloc starts to come out. And at this point, I'm going to throw my marine pure gem into the water and let it soak while we're doing everything else. You don't want that ceramic media going into your Biofloc reactor because it'll toss it around and wear it down quicker. When all the water's poured out, now you can pour out your gems. You're going to have a little bit of Biofloc left, but that's okay because you need some to start. Use a regular net and just pour it through the net. Since we're starting a brand new culture, it involves a fluval breeder box. Put about 1 inch of water into it, and that's where you can put your stones. Try to put the stones on one side, it'll be easier for harvest. So now we can go ahead and dump in our supercharged substrate that we made with our peat moss and our finished compost, and of course the Biofloc. Now it's time to get our Biofloc reactor back up and going so we can get it ready for our next round of Biofloc. Go ahead and pour all that water back in. I'm pouring 10 more milliliters of mold from a fish tank. Now, this doesn't have to be mature. It can be fresh muck off the bottom of your tank. And I'm going to put in 3 drops of molasses. And here's some information on your carbon sources. Not all carbon dissolves at the same time. If you're using something thicker like a pellet, you want a slower dissolving carbon. So you have some options here. You can leave that exactly how it is, and you will be able to harvest Biofloc in 24 hours. If you need to produce more Biofloc, then you can add in whatever you would feed the blackworms to this container first. Let it turn into the Biofloc, let it increase your yield, then feed it to the blackworms. You'll be able to feed more protein than ever before. Okay, let's get back to our culture. All of the Biofloc and the substrate has been settled. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly chop 1 gram of worms and put that into this culture. And you know my no feeding heavy protein in the first 7-day rules? Yeah, you can forget that in this. They're completely covered and surrounded by high protein food. So the worms can start eating protein immediately. Now all that's left is to put on the overflow, start the water, let it drip, nothing crazy, but as long as it's a steady drip. You can start adding more Biofloc tomorrow if you like. And the last important detail, you have to cover the overflow with something. I'm using the fluval ammonia reducing pads, just cut pieces and put in the overflow, but you don't want them getting out of the culture. And there you go. You have a blackworm culture that will double its population every 14 days without you doing anything to it. If your culture is not producing that many blackworms, you might want to rethink what you're doing.